What's up, guys? It's Maggio here with another Zahir guide for Eternal Return Black Survival. This is a build specific guide for my Marble Zonis build, which includes Ruthenium Marble and Amazonis Armor, hence the name. This guide will be covering the build, tips and substitutions, routing, and a montage which includes plays using this build. Let's get right into it. The items for the initial build are Ruthenium Marble, Amazonis Armor, Imperial Crown, Tyndalus Band, EOD Boots, and Uchiwa. These items give you a good balance of offensive and defensive stats, including some health, high defense, high percentage spell amp, and good SP regen. Some tips for building: do not stay in one area too long. The materials of this build are highly contested. Includes items such as lighters, nail, scrap metal, and gemstones. In your first zone, if you can obtain a ramen and 2 garlic, you'll be able to combine this with the boiling water used in your Ruthenium Marble for a large power spike in food. If you're not able to get the ramen, you can go ahead and use those 2 garlic for garlic bread, which are also very good starting healing items. Don't worry too much about building an alley. Grab your stuff and hit zone 2. This kind of goes in with the first 2 points. Don't try to stick around looking for missing items too long. You're going to delay the rest of your build. And if you are building those items in your first zone, you're only slowing yourself when it comes down to getting those contested items. You're not going to get much advantage out of building the flubber that you can finish in alley. You might as well take those items as quickly as you can, get to avenue, and start building. This is when your inventory is going to get a little bit clustered, so if you're not building by avenue and pond, you are not going to be able to move very quickly. Lastly, starting in alley, you can walk or teleport to avenue based on your pathing, which gives you some flexibility. Just example, if you start on the side of alley towards avenue, it's a good idea to route towards the teleporter. That way you have more time to pick up all your components. Vice versa, if you start towards the teleporter, you can start walking towards avenue. That way you have more time to pick up all those items. Substitutions for this build: obviously the weapon's not going to have any substitution. Ruthenium Marble, especially for casters, is going to be hands down the best item. It gives you percentage amp, healing reduction, high attack power, and there's no legendary throw weapon, so you're not going to be replacing this item. For chest slots, you've got a few options here. Amazonis Armor is good in its own right. You can do a little bit better. The third best option is Mithril Armor. It's just really high defense, some decent movement speed, a little bit of flat spell reduction and attack speed. So overall, good survivability, a little bit more than Amazonis, and that's why it's on this list. The second best option would be EOD Suit. This gives you an increase of 300 HP, some decent defense. You're losing a little bit, but you're also getting a little bit of ENAD resist. And most importantly, you're getting CDR, which really scales well into the late game. It lets you get off abilities more quickly. Your final option and your best option for chest is this Queen of Hearts. Easily the best item for this. It gives you a lot of CDR. This is basically going to cap you at that 40%. Really high defense. Again, really good for survivability and some health regen, which Zahir, for all he's worth, he loves those extended fights. HP regen is not going to hurt that. For your head slot, if you do have EOD Suit, you could get an Imperial Burgonet, but then you won't want to get that Queen of Hearts unless you held onto the Imperial Crown. So for that reason, I say there's not really a good head substitution here. For your arm slot, not so much of an upgrade, but more of a side grade. You can go for the Scotty. It gives you a little bit of flat spell amp, which is really good for PvP, but not as good for PvE, so hunts. And you are losing that CDR, which is pretty valuable towards the end of the game. especially if you're missing abilities, which it's easy to do late game when everyone's got a lot more mobility. So losing that CDR can hurt a little bit. That being said, your damage output, if you are hitting abilities against players, will be higher. For the legs spot, it's no question about it. Hermes boots is an upgrade for EOD. There's no reason to not go for this. 40 defense versus the 23. Higher movement speed, higher out of combat movement speed. It's no brainer there. And the accessory, you might argue this one. I personally do not move away from the Uchiwa. I think that the SP regen on it is too valuable to get away from. And I think the flat spell amp complements the rest of this build pretty well. You're not going to be getting flat amp from anything else. So if your enemies do have pretty decent defense, you want at least one flat amp item. The path for this build is alley, avenue, pond, hospital, and cemetery. Obviously, you're going to be spending the most time in alley, avenue, and pond. Pond, I'm highlighting here as your power spike zone. This is pretty specific for this build. You're going to be building Ruthenium Marble, Imperial Crown, Tindalos Band, and Uchiwa all in one zone. Once you have all these items completed, it's going to be very difficult to contest you in any fights. So I definitely want to be looking for fights as soon as you complete these items in Pond, especially once you get into Hospital and Cemetery. If you see anyone there, definitely take those fights. They might have the items that you're looking for, so don't be afraid to start lighting up your enemies. Those items right there give you all of the key stats of this build with percentage amp, health and defense, CDR, and SP regen. So now we're going to go a little bit into a video of the routing. You're going to be able to see just how the pathing works, how quickly we want to move through the zones, and then we're going to show you a little montage. If you like the video, please like and subscribe and comment if you have any questions. If you like the video, let me know. Thank you, and have a good one.
실험이 시작되었습니다.
죄가 자신을 지옥으로 이끌 것이다. 낡은 상자로 쓸만한 것 같소. 그림자 속에 숨어 있다고 보이지 않을 줄 아는가? 사람이 없으니 이리도 평온하군. 뭐가 들어있으려나 쓸만한 것 같소. 내게 재능이 있었던 모양이다. 쓸만한 것 같소. 뭐가 들어있으려나. 뭐가 들어있으려나. 쓸데없는 욕심은 부리지 않는 게 좋다. 예전엔
생존자가 사망했습니다.
이것 또한 삶의 터전이었음. 자꾸 잊어버린다. 이런 곳에 연못이 있다니. 영원한 안식은.
항공 보급이 도착합니다.
벗어날 수 없을 것이다. 낡은 상자로 쓸데없는 욕심은 부리지 않는 게 좋겠어. 마음에 드는 빛이 이끄는 길을 걷게 될 것이오. 바다를 쏘아줘. 내게 재능이 있었던 모양.
생존자가 사망했습니다. 생존자가 사망했습니다.
마음에 드는 게 낡은 상자로군.
새 금지 구역이 지정되었습니다.
뭐가 들어있으려나. 내게 재능이 있었던 모양이야.
생존자가 사망했습니다.
들어있으려나. 신념의 힘이 될지. 낡은 상자로군. 신이시여,
생존자가 사망했습니다.
집에 가오가
생존자가 사망했습니다.
내게 재능이 있었던 모양이야. 신께서 인도하셨습니다. 낡은 상자로군.
생존자가 사망했습니다.
질병이란 방심했을 때 찾아오는 불청객이라고. 뭐가
1분 후 항공 보급이 도착합니다.
신이시여,
생존자가 사망했습니다. 이제 생존자가 10명 남았습니다.
신이시여.
누군가가 연쇄 처치 중입니다.
뭐가 들어있으려나. 망자들이여.
누군가가 연쇄 처치 중입니다.
받아라. 나
생존자가 사망했습니다. 새 금지 구역이 지정되었습니다. 생존자 숫자가 적어서 다음 금지 구역이 가속됩니다. 누군가가 연쇄 처치 중입니다.
완성되지 못한 파편들 무슨 신이시여, 받아라. 신이시여, 벗어날 수 없을 것이다. 나 퍼져라. 쏟아. 벗어날 수 없을 것이다. 받아라.
생존자가 사망했습니다. 이제 생존자가 5명 남았습니다.
완성되지 못한 파편들 좋습니다.
일 분 후 항공 보급이 도착합니다.
앞으로 나아갈 때가 왔어. 이곳은 아닌 것 같소. 벗어날 수 없을 것이다.
생존자가 3명 남았습니다.
발걸음
누군가가 연쇄 처치. 최종 생존자 2명 남았습니다.
날아올라.
임시 안전지대가 해제되었습니다. 더 이상 안전한 지역이 없습니다. 누군가가 연쇄 처치 중. 생존자가 사망했습니다. 부르셨나요?
바다 쏘아라. 발걸음
안녕하세요. 적절할게요.
쏘아라. 그대
누군가가 연쇄 처치 중입니다.
이런 상황에서도 적절하게 접근되어 나 바다 발걸음
생존자가 사망했습니다. 최종
벗어날 수 없어.
혼내주세요. 이게 진정한
생존자가 사망했습니다. 최종 마지막 금지 구역이 지정되었습니다. 보안 콘솔 주변이 임시 안전지대로 설정됩니다. 1분 임시 안전지대가 해제됩니다. 누군가가 연쇄 처치 중입니다. 금지 구역이 지정되었습니다. 생존자가 사망했습니다.
난 쏘아라. 바다 쏘아라. 쏘라.
생존자가 사망했습니다. 새 금지 구역이 지정되었습니다. 생존자가 사망했습니다. 최종
힘은 지혜로운 자를 사. 벗어날 수 없어. 바다
연쇄 처치 중입니다.
날아올라. 쏘아라. 쏘라. 벗어날 수
누군가가 연쇄 처치 중입니다. 생존자가 사망했습니다.
영원한 안식을. 벗어날 수 없다.
1분 후 마지막 금지 구역이 지정됩니다. 보안 콘솔 주변 임시 안전지대로 설정됩니다.
벗어날 수 없을 것이다.
생존자가 사망했습니다. 보안 콘솔 주변이 임시 안전지대로 설정됩니다. 1볼트 임시 안전지대가 해제됩니다. 서둘러 주세요. 연쇄 처치 중입니다.
이것은
누군가가 세종 사용자가 7명 남았습니다.
여기가